Hi there, my name is Aaron Short. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's an early one today, an early one for me anyway. It's a nice change. Today is January the 21st, 2021. We're well into Believe in Music, the virtual NAMM event. And you will have seen that Martin Guitar released a lot of new products this year. It's very, very cool. And I'm really happy to have my friend from Martin here. This is Skip Belts. Please welcome Skip. How you doing, Skip?
I'm good, Aaron. Thanks for having me.
No, thank
Hi,
you for being
everyone.
here. Yes, awesome. It's awesome. First of all, how are you doing? How's 2021 treating you so far?
Well, much better than last year. I mean, let me just fix my camera here.
Sure.
The beginning of 2020 was okay, but we all know what happened with the rest of 2020. So, refreshing to know that maybe there's light at the end of the 2021 tunnel for us.
Can you believe that just 12 months ago, we were at the NAMM show in person, playing all those guitars and shaking hands? It's crazy to
I,
think, isn't it?
I miss it terribly. I mean, it's a big part of of my life from a personal standpoint. I get to see a lot of friends that I've met in the industry, and surprisingly, I run into people that I didn't know through the industry, but was friends with at some point along the line of my life. So I do miss it. I think everyone in the music industry misses it. It's important to what we do, for sure.
Sure, sure. So we have done an interview before, and if anyone's new to the channel, please check that out later on. I have a full interview with Skip on my channel. But for anyone that's here today and doesn't know what you do, you are the Director of Product Management. So what's a typical day like for you then?
A little bit different now because I'm working from home. But a typical day for me, I have a lot of interaction with all parts of the business. I'm in charge of the product line, all guitars we make in Nazareth, all guitars we make in Mexico. So everything from pricing to input on design, to everything that goes along with that, which, you think about a guitar, some people have said to me over my career, well, how hard could that be? We have a saying, it's a funny saying at Martin Guitar. Well, you know what they say at NASA, we're not making guitars. Making a guitar is not, it's not an easy process, and there's a lot that goes into it. So there are times where I have to lock myself down into my office because I've got a lot of administrative type work that goes along with the job. But for the most part, I'm involved in a lot of collaboration meetings and working with manufacturing and sales and the marketing team, mostly throughout every day. So I used to, at one point, I put one of those, well, it's not an odometer, but the thing that counts your steps. Having a brain freeze on what that's called right now, but I would put miles on throughout the day because of how many places I needed to be. And Aaron, you've been to our facility. It's not
Yeah.
small. Walking from one end to the other is pretty long. In a high day, I would get 6.5 miles just inside the facility. On a low day where I had maybe a lot of meetings and needed to stay put in those meetings, I would get maybe 1.5 miles. But that's a lot when you're walking throughout the plant. So quite mobile, quite interactive, and heavily involved with the whole process of the guitars.
Obviously now you're working from home, right? You're at home right now?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I had to create a little office area in my basement. Basement was all storage, so had to throw something together because upstairs was like Grand Central the last time we had a live interview. I had to tell everybody I'm going to be doing an interview. I was in my kitchen. I was either using my kitchen area or dining room area because we had to turn one of the bedrooms in or an area I could have made an office into a bedroom. So we have 5 bedrooms. So I had to come down here into the basement, and it's kind of funny because I'll say to my wife, "All right, I'm going to work," and then I go downstairs and do my thing. But the interaction is the same. I still need to have all that interaction, but I'm doing it kind of like this live setup that we have, only over different mediums, where if I'm talking to some of our dealers or distributors, They might use Zoom or Skype or Google Meet. We tend to use Microsoft Teams for our internal things. So constantly on meetings, interacting with the folks that I need to interact with. And I do go into the plant, but if you're not building guitars at the bench, the focus is to try to minimize the interaction, to slow down and do our part in trying not to spread the problem. But when I do need to go into the facility, then I comply with all the CDC regulations that we comply with. Go in there, do my thing, and then come back here and get back to work in the basement.
Awesome. So I'd like to talk about the NAMM show in a bit more detail, because I know that CF Martin has been the chair of the board, right, of the whole thing, right? So obviously Martin is very heavily invested in the NAMM show. So what does the NAMM show mean to both Martin as a company and to yourself personally?
Well, I would probably, maybe if I had a multiple choice of 4 questions and I had to phone a friend type deal, I'd probably get it right. But the NAMM show's been going on for a long time. Geez. If I had to guess, I'd say it might even go back to the 30s. But Aaron, maybe you know the answer to that.
I don't, but Google does, so I'll look it up.
Yeah, look it up. I'm gonna guess it's probably at least 80 years. That's how far I would say the NAMM show has been going on. Let's see how wrong or close to being right I am. But it's been important.
You're very wrong. Do you want to know the answer?
Yeah.
January 1901. I had no idea. How is that even possible?
I was going to say the 30s, but wow, 1901.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Geez, I'm not sure I would have picked that one. I would have guessed the 30s. But you know, I knew that even back as far as the 1800s, there was a trade type show. I can't remember. Chris would know the name of it, I'm sure, that went on. But I thought that it changed hands later than that. NAMM is born. 52 members of the National Piano Manufacturers Association of America formed the National Association of Piano Dealers. I should know this. I've just embarrassed myself. But I know that it's been a very long time, and that was an interesting sort of dialogue that we got into, and good to know that this is really a long tradition of helping to gather music manufacturers in a place where we can try to do business and try to make friends and contacts and people that we can. There you go. The hiatus was in 32. NAMM, and I think that's why I had the 30s in my head, because it returned. But over the years, you can see NAMM skipped a year in 1934. So it is extremely important to us, because Martin Guitar has been involved for a long time, and it's a place where we can, as I said, go to market. All your dealers and distributors get to one place. You can do a lot for your business and for your customers in a short period of time to sort of set the sail for the year and make the connection. See each other in person. Maybe at least 2 more times than you normally would by traveling out to see them. And you can check off a bunch of people that you'd like to see all in the same 4 or 5 days, and that just makes sense. And a lot of industries do that. They have their trade shows. So I would say that that's why it's important to us. Aside from being able to showcase what we do and what we have that's new, it's really super important from a relationship standpoint and a business affluency standpoint.
So we can see 1932 there was no NAMM show. So there have been years when there's not been a physical show. Now with this virtual format, what are the pros and cons for you personally? Have you been able to get your business done Have there been any benefits to this format of being at home and doing things virtually for you?
I would say, yeah, there's always pros and cons, and it, for us and a lot of people in the industry, the evolution of the internet has changed the way we do business. Um, I would say that helped us probably all in the music industry to be more prepared for this. Um, the cons. I'll start with the cons. We don't get to see face to face our business partners, shake hands, break bread, um, enjoy each other's company if we meet for dinner, and get to ask about how each other's families are and what each other's been up to, and find out that we know that people we've been doing business for a long time are still doing really well, and we're generally happy to see them. The fact that we couldn't do that, I said generally, what I meant was genuinely. I said the wrong word there. We can't do that, and that's probably the biggest con for us. Aside from being able to have negotiations and try to work on business, the pros, we've gotten better at utilizing technology. We've gotten better at making sure that our content is appropriately displayed for the social media platforms that are out there, and people that otherwise maybe weren't technology savvy have to learn a little bit more than they did in the past. And these are all tools that you can put in your toolbox to improve for the next time, or even for something you want to do for your business, but for your personal part of your job. You probably walked away from this process learning something that you didn't know before, and that's certainly a pro. And I'll give a shout out to NAMM and Joe Lamont and everyone that's involved. They've done an outstanding job at making what was a difficult thing positive in the best way that they could. And I haven't heard anyone that's not said good things about what's going on and how they're able to connect. It really has been smooth, considering the very, very short time that they had to do what they did.
Mm. Yeah, I guess the biggest thing, because I'm doing this Monday show with one of your dealers right now, it's awesome. We get to see the guitars, talk about the guitars. I guess the biggest thing right now is people can't actually play them. At the NAMM show, we can pick them up and feel them and play them, which is what the guitar's all about, right?
I guess that's I left that thing out as a con, right? I could, there's more cons, but yeah, that's, I didn't talk about the consumer, and pardon me for that, but the con is the consumers miss out. Yeah. The difference, though, and what NAMM did is anybody could sign up to this Believe in Music. Anyone. So now in the future, and what we've heard is that they're going to continue this platform. So if you lived in Europe, if you lived, in Florida, if you lived in Australia and you couldn't get to the NAMM show before, moving forward, you'll be able to get to the NAMM show, at least virtually. You won't be able to pick those guitars up and play them, or check those keyboards out, or get on a drum kit, right? Mm. But at least you'll be able to be connected to a certain extent.
I think it's great. I've seen other people say the virtual NAMM is boring. I don't think that's fair. I think we're lucky to have any kind of event at all, considering the current climate, right? So I think it's awesome, and I think it's the first one, and it'll just develop and get even better. And I think you're right. In the future, it will run alongside the main event, and they'll be equally as important as each other. That's my guess.
Yeah, inclusion is always good, and people that couldn't get there. I think about it this way. I've had the opportunity to go to the NAMM show for quite a few years, more than 10 years. And when I come back, people that I work with always ask, well, how's the NAMM show? And they show excitement, because a lot of what we do is build up to the NAMM show, right? aside from the price list items that we've been selling and D28s we've been making for a long, long time, we've got new products, and that creates a lot of excitement inside Martin Guitar, in our Nazareth plant in Mexico. So for them, now they can get a piece of it. They can register to believe in music, and they can be a part of it. Yes, there's only so many people. I mean, it would be great if we could send the entire company to NAMM. It's just not feasible. But now, if you're in customer service, or you're in manufacturing, or you're in a part of the company where you didn't previously get to go to NAMM, you can attend NAMM. After work, you can check it out. You can make contacts with people. You can become more a part of it, and that's super.
If you haven't checked out Believe in Music, everyone in the chat, then I encourage you to do so. And I've been bad. I haven't been attending all the virtual workshops, but they're going to remain there for like another month or so you can watch them at your convenience, which is also cool. There was one with Fred Green the other day, and he did an awesome Q&A at the end, and I was watching the replay of that, so it's all there to watch again. It's all free, so definitely go over there later and sign up and check it all out. It's really, really, really cool. I think the reason some people say boring is because they want to see new gear. And I will say, Martin, have impressed me with the amount of new product you've released. Some major brands have not released anything for this event. And I totally understand it. I know it's hard to get parts right now, and shipping is a nightmare, I'm sure, right now, all this stuff. So the products you have released, there's a lot of them. Were they developed for this kind of virtual NAMM show, or were these in development long before the lockdown started?
That's a great question. And our process has to keep moving. We have to be thinking, right now towards 2021 Nashville and 2022 Anaheim and beyond. So it was important for us to make sure that when the pandemic hit, that we did what we could as soon as we could get back to work to keep the stuff that we were planning on taking to Anaheim moving and progressing forward in a way that was that made sense. And we had discussions, and I made some decisions on what we might forego and move out, what was too important, David Gilmour, to keep moving forward as best as we could. I mean, there are guitars that you do and you say, wow, this needs to be in an Anaheim NAMM show. I make decisions, Fred makes decisions, Fred's the vice president of product management. Our design team that we work with, Tim Teal and Ramin Shayagan, we talk about these things and say, where is it appropriate? There's certain guitars that we do that we say, this deserves to go to a Nashville NAMM show. So we have all of those conversations, and then we make decisions on whether or not it's going to be worthy. And these were the guitars that we felt would be worthy to continue to keep the full court press on, so to speak, to have them ready for this virtual Anaheim. And thankfully, ones like what are on the screen right now, the OOL Earth, we were able to get done. The David Gilmour, we were able to get done. We did not want to, and I'll say this, Chris Martin is the chairman, executive chairman of the NAMM board right now. He's serving his 2-year term for that. It's not just because of that. That's important to us. It's important to him. But he believes in NAMM, and that may have been why he was selected, because he's so passionate about it. But we didn't want to take the approach, well, NAMM is only virtual this year, so let's contribute. Let's create social media around it. Let's make sure that folks can reach out to us, but we're not going to do any new products. We felt that it was really important for us to still present new products that were exciting in lieu of it not being in person.
Sure. I have noticed that a lot of like standard series guitars are out of stock and running low on stock. Obviously, you were shut down for a while. There's also talk now in the industry that I mean, I think most companies I've spoken to have said they had one of the best years ever last year because people bought guitars because they were at home, things like that. So how is production running right now? How is this going to affect that in any way? Because you're adding more models to the existing lineup as well?
Well, we do that every year, and there's a process to try to um, make sure that we're still producing our price list items at the same time we're producing new products. It's hard. It's difficult to do that. Um, you don't want to tell the person that's been waiting and saving up for 3 years you can't have a D28 right now because we we want to introduce new products. We have to do both things at the same time. The pandemic, when everything shut down, it made it difficult. We're still catching up to that. The manufacturing folks did a tremendous job at doing what they could. I personally thank all the folks coming in, wearing masks, making guitars. That's difficult. As difficult as it is for me to adapt to working from home, that was a difficult thing for them to adapt to as well. And we appreciate that, and they've done a fantastic job. They dug out the best they could, but demand still remains strong. So we're chasing that demand. We're trying to make as many guitars as we can, and we are doing that. It's just that when you shut down manufacturing, but you're able to still ship product, you're going to drain the swamp a little bit, and that's what happened back through April and into May. We shut down on March 18th or 19th, and we didn't start manufacturing in our Nazareth facility again until I think it was June 6th.
Wow.
So we lost 2 months of production. Right around, I think it was the last week of April or so, we were able to get dispensation to have a very small number of shipping employees start shipping. And that was because, when everything stopped, there were still containers on the water and still containers at docks and trucks that had product going everywhere throughout the country. And if you didn't empty those, that would have it was creating a huge problem. So companies were able to get dispensation to have some shipping folks come in to try to keep that pipeline going a little bit. And we were able to have 6 employees. And that allowed us to start shipping a little bit. And then eventually we got a few more, and we were able to have some efficiency throughout the rest of the month of May in shipping product. So we're shipping product and not producing product. That's difficult.
Are you back to 100% production rate now, or not quite?
We're operating as if we're operating at 100%. What we have to take into consideration that there are certain things that will cause people to not be at work and exposure reasons, and we're very diligent in following all the guidelines, the best practices that are out there. So for the most part, yeah, we're doing pretty good, and we're producing, when everybody's there, we're running at what is our capacity at 100%.
Very good. Now, on Monday, I was really lucky. I had Robert Getzel, who did the artwork for the Earth guitar.
Hey, Robert.
He's a great guy, and that was a great show. Again, it's on demand to watch again at your convenience. So I won't run through every single guitar today. You've released so many of them, and I've mentioned them on previous videos. And anyone that's interested can go to the Martin website and see all the info and all the specs of everything. But I will ask you, Skip, which of these new releases are you most excited about?
Well, the obvious, the David Gilmour. Pardon me, the David Gilmour. I mean, it's not often that you get. Excuse me for 1 second.
Sure. I'm just showing the specs to everyone. Again, it's on the Martin website. You can go and check it out at your convenience.
That doesn't normally happen, but I had a little frog in my throat. To David Gilmour, I mean, he shows up on top 100 guitarists of all times. You know, the influence he's had in the music business for such a long time. His D35 auctioned off a couple of years ago for just over $1 million. And in one of my favorite guitarists of all time. You know, that's super exciting. And to be a part of that, to work with the folks at Westside and specifically Mark Denays and through Mark Denays, Phil Taylor, David's guitar tech, just what more do you need to inspire you to do what you do? And people, there is an adage, if you love what you do, it's not work, and true statement. And this was fun for me because, you know, there's a couple of few, maybe 3 to 5 artists that are out there that you would say, why hasn't Martin worked with them, right? David Gilmour was one of them, and he graced us with his presence to want to work with us, and it was just so much fun.
I've heard these are really well received, and I think they might. There's only 250. I think they might be kind of sold out. So, how do you decide to make 250? How do you come up with that number of 250?
Well, you know, part of what we do, there's some difficult decisions to make, and a lot of people that are out there that maybe are trying to get one and can't would say, well, why would they only make 250? Why wouldn't you do 1,000 or 3,000 or 5,000? There's something to be said about the exclusivity of it, and that's important. But also, sinker mahogany is very difficult to come by. You go to Belize, you go into the river, you bring logs up out of the river, and then you have to get all that moisture out of it, and everything all that time you spend in getting those logs out doesn't always mean that you're going to be able to use 100% of the wood. And for those of you that don't know, when you cut down a tree, 100% of the wood is not usable. There's a certain yield percentage that you get. Well, the yield percentage is much lower with sinker mahogany. So we only had a certain amount of sinker mahogany when David made his choice to use sinker mahogany. The tone of these sinker mahogany built guitars is simply amazing. But the amount of sets that we had to make, we also couldn't confirm that all of them would work on dreadnoughts. When you're processing them, sometimes you find out, oh, well, there may be an imperfection out towards the end. So if we make a dreadnought, it won't fit. So we have to make a smaller, maybe triple O or double O size, or even O size. And that was a big part of it. So once we made the count, we knew that comfortably we could make 250. We knew that still felt exclusive, and we felt that David deserved to have some exclusivity to the amount of guitars we made. And I've been at Martin for 28 years. I've seen us do guitars that I thought, oh, these are going to sell out, no problem. And there's a certain number where you fill the demand. And if you don't hit the limited edition number, it feels like a failure. That probably wouldn't have been the case if we would have had the ability to make 500 for someone like David Gilmour. And at the same time, you don't want to do 481 because you feel like a failure. So we wanted to make sure that we made enough that it was exclusive, and we could fulfill all of the orders with the resources that we had.
Yeah, I was just surfing around the other day. I found the Kurt Cobain model. It's not the model, but I think they made you made around 300 of those with the one with the pickup that he used on the MTV Unplugged show. So I think if you want one of these, then buy one. It's the same with like I always talk about the John Mayer model, around 500 of those. Same thing. So if you want this guitar, then buy it, because you know there's 500 of them. How many go to David Gilmour, by the way? How many does he get?
but he's going to get his fare. David's taken care of, and some of his friends. But I prefer to let David post about that.
I think he's because he sold the original one was the guitar that sold them for the most money in history, wasn't it? His D35. That's crazy.
Did it break a record? It looks like we're gonna have to go to Google again, because I know Eric Clapton did a couple that sold for quite a price. I think you may be right though. Let's Google that.
I'm on Google right now. It says he auctioned off 120 guitars, and that D35 sold for $1 million, topped the previous record for a Martin held by Eric Clapton's 1939 42, which sold for $791. So yeah, I think that's the most expensive Martin that ever sold. So it totally makes sense that you've made this model. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So what I'd like to do is we've got loads of people in the chat asking questions. I'd like to just do a little Q&A if it's okay with you, Skip.
Sure.
I want to thank everyone for joining us. I really appreciate your time. And like I said, it's earlier today, but I think it's good because in some parts of the world, this time is probably better for some people. Okay, we've got Jim here. Hi, Jim. He says, ask Skip if we will see an SC model using the Zero-Cote. No one knows how to say. I actually was going to spend this whole session just asking you how to pronounce these words, but I don't think you guys know either, do you? I don't think anyone actually knows.
Well, I say Zero-Cote.
Okay.
I say Zero-Cote. The Italians probably say Zero-Cote. So Zero-Cote is how I pronounce it, and I have seen it, believe it or not, spelled with 2 I's and without 2 I's, so that's why I think you see some people say Zero-Cote versus Zero-Cote. And great question. It makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? And that wood is beautiful. We're doing the first SC13 was in fine veneer, and our Zero-Cote models that we just launched, the D13E and the GPC13E, pardon me, are Zero-Cote. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense to do that. I can't comment on when or if we will, but I'll just tell you that it makes a lot of sense to do that.
The SC13 has been really well received, hasn't it? When companies that are very traditional launch new models, I can see a lot of backlash online, but I've got to say the SC13 has had. I haven't seen a negative comment yet. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a negative comment yet, so it's been very well received.
Yeah, and all there is that saying, all publicity is good publicity, and social media has allowed the acceptance of some negative comments and positive comments, but I read them all. I try to take both sides as productive feedback and learn from it. But yeah, you're right. I haven't seen many of those as well, Aaron.
Are there any women who make guitars at the factories? Yes, I've been there. I've seen them. But what's the ratio like at your company?
Continuing to grow, and it's I if it isn't 50-50, it's darn close, or maybe even teetered to more women than men if you added it all up. But yeah, I mean, I work alongside women that are great at their jobs. I've worked alongside women on the bench that were great, better than what I could do, and they're great craftsmen and great attention to detail, and pretty much have the opportunity to do any of the jobs in the factory. Our president of the company is a woman, Jacqueline Renner. She goes by Jackie. She's a woman. So we're proud of that fact. And to Aaron's point, you can come into the company and see for yourself. And it's a great place to work. That's one of the reasons.
007, really specific question. I've got a D35 Johnny Cash, very nice, and obviously never seen the beautiful tone woods used on it. That's Engelmann, like the OMJM behind me. Is there any footage of D35 Johnny Cash production, or can you tell me more about it? I will say, if you go to the Martin website, the full specifications for all the guitars are on there, so that's a great place to start. Do you know of any documentaries or YouTube videos specifically about the Johnny Cash model?
I know a couple stories. I can tell you a couple stories, and and you got to be careful when you're talking specs with Aaron, because he knows his specs, right? Engelman, not many people would have been able to call that out without looking it up. And was that 007? I'm just going to sidetrack for a second. Stevie Wonder, I saw, was your profile pic. When you go to the NAMM show, don't be surprised if you run into Stevie Wonder.
He's there.
Been, ready to get on the same elevator he was getting on, and he's like, after you. I was walking through the Marriott, and there was a guy sort of slapping Superstitious, like really, really cool. And Stevie Wonder saw it, came up on stage, and joined in with them in the Marriott. Tell me that is not freaking cool. And part of the reason why you miss going to the Anaheim NAMM show in person.
It's amazing.
To answer your question,
go ahead,
Aaron.
I remember walking into Starbucks. I'm a pickup fan. I walked into Starbucks the first year, and Larry Fishman was in line. So I was like, "Oh, Larry Fishman's at Starbucks." Sorry. And Chris Martin, of course. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I see Larry and talk to Larry a lot, and I'll bust his chops about that. So to answer the Johnny Cash, I don't know if there's any footage of it, but the reason why the tone woods are covered up is because it's the Man in Black. That's what he wanted, and CF the Third, as he's called in the plant, Christian Frederick Martin III, our current Christian Frederick Martin IV, his grandfather. He thought it was heresy to paint a guitar black, and he had heard that this was a request, and the way the story goes inside, he said no way. He said absolutely not. And whoever did it, I don't know who it was that did it. Was like, man, this is a terrible decision. It's Johnny Cash. So they went and they made a few samples, and they sent them to Johnny Cash, and he got interviewed. He being CF the Third, Chris's grandfather, Christian Frederick Martin III, got interviewed in a Penthouse magazine. And so the saying is, I don't know if he knew he was getting interviewed for Penthouse magazine, but it's out there. I don't know if you can find the article online. I've seen the book in the archives. I only looked at the article, and he was questioned about the Johnny Cash, and he learned about it there. So after the fact, he thought it was a good idea, not so much on the front end. Chris would probably tell that story a little bit better than I do, because I probably have some of the particulars wrong, but it's pretty funny. And it was part of the reason. Part of the reason was CF the Third thought really what Martin guitar was about, and this is what I've learned over the years, is that making a great sounding guitar is what's important. The frills on it, pearl, and extra added things that aren't necessary weren't needed. And I think we've all learned over time that you can get the best of both worlds, and that's what we try to do, and we do remember and appreciate his sentiment.
Well, I can't find it, but I will have to clear my browsing history after we're done. Are you sure this is true? Every time I speak to someone, I get a new story. I love it. There's so many stories. It's fantastic.
I think you've had Dick Boak on your live stream.
I need him back. It's amazing. Yeah.
Hey, ask Dick Boak, because he personally knew CF the Third. He can elaborate on that story a little bit. I've only got bits and pieces passed through the ways, but yeah, I mean, it's a true story that about the article and about him learning about it. Then that is a true story.
Okay, please send it to me so I can prove it later on. Okay, yeah, Dick Boak was amazing. I must get him back on sometime. 007, every Monday I have a Martin Focus show with Maury's Music, and we were about to do that model, but he sold it immediately. So do subscribe to my channel and ring the bell, because that will come around eventually, and we'll do a whole 2-hour show on it, and you can join us and tell us how you like it. That would be awesome. That'd be really cool. Okay, so let me see. Thank you for your question. Raj says, I recently purchased an Ovencoil OMC 16E. I friggin' love this guitar, except the battery box shattered. Oh no. Is there any way to upgrade the pickup system, or perhaps a more robust battery box?
Okay, first question, are you the original owner?
Right.
So if you are the original owner, well, one thing to everyone out there that buys a Martin guitar, register your guitar immediately. That always makes this process easier. Don't say, yeah, I'll do it when I get, I'll do it next week or on the weekend. Register your guitar immediately. Our guitars come with a lifetime warranty to the original owner. The Ovencoil OMC 16E is a great guitar. I personally designed that one, and it really has a great feel. Came out way better than what I expected. When you draw something up, and you're anticipating what it's going to look like in the end, you have something set in your mind. And this one, I was pleasantly surprised the way that it turned out. I'm glad you like it, and thank you for your purchase. Call customer service. Let them know that you were on a live stream with Skip Belts, and if they can't take care of you, have them contact me. But I recently got them some more pieces and parts for battery boxes. The doors sometimes are easily broken, and we'll get you fixed up. But that's something that, I don't know what your warranty is. I don't know if it's used, but we can help you with that process.
That's awesome. If you're the original owner, you have that warranty. And actually, just a few days ago, I emailed to get a new tuner for my guitar, and they got back to me right away. So very good service.
I mean,
so just email
now,
them.
if you smash, our guitars are covered under warranty. If you are holding your guitar and you drop it,
right,
and you crack it, well, we're going to charge you to fix that. But if something happens that shouldn't have happened, we're going to fix that for you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Kookie's here. He's a big friend of the channel, and he's got a great question. He says, what we live to is close to wartime, at least in terms of guitar manufacturing logistics. Depression and World War II years are considered a golden era. Will 20 or 2021 guitars be special as regards to specs, process, wood sourcing? Would that lead to a 2021 era Martin guitar? Interesting.
That is an interesting question. I think that there are ebbs and flows of the process, and when you can look back on companies with the length that we have, where you see natural transitions and improvements. I used to hear, oh, those 70s Martins, they were terrible, right? You'd be surprised in the past few years how many people have told me that they have a 1970, whatever the style was, and how great it is. Our action was high. We had some issues with our guitars needing neck resets through that time period. I've played myself some 70s guitars that sounded amazing. I think we got a little bit of a bad rap. Well, no, it was deserved. Our action was high, right? But think about the music genre change. Bluegrass players like high action. Folk players like high action, and the times were changing to where, back then it was like 3.5, 4.5 action. If you know what I mean by that. Now we're at 2 and 3 action, and from guitar playing standpoint, that's really, really high action. But you get a guitar from the 1970s set up for your style playing, 2 or 2+, 3+. It makes the guitar play really great, right? The neck reset's good. It's effortless down the fingerboard. Now you took a guitar that you thought wasn't that great and turned it into an absolute gem. So I told that story because music creates different transitions, music of the times, and that infuses some different things that happen. We came out with the SC model in 2020. There's going to be an earmark on our timeline for that innovation. That sparks a lot of other things. I can't really say our guitars from 2020 and 21 going to be worth what pre-war guitars are, 80 years from now. I can't say that, but I can tell you that we're making the best guitars that we ever have. In terms of design and setup and quality out the back door, so to speak. So we're pretty proud of it, and I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that yes, they will have their own place in history.
I think ever since you started plecking the guitars, there's this thing about Martin guitars have a high action. The thing is, it's easier to lower the action. It's so easy to lower that saddle than it is to raise it with shims and things. So that makes sense. And ever since you've been plecking them, I said this to Tim Teal when he was on here as well, I think they're some of the best playing necks around. I'm not just saying that. They play so well. I think sometimes these things are hard to shake, aren't they? When you get known for certain things, it's hard to shake that. Rodrigo said something along that line as well. He said when he plays a Taylor in the store, it seems easier to play than the Martin, but the Martin sounds better. Thank you, Rodrigo. But I think it's the same thing, right? Like all you got to do is lower that saddle, and it'll play as well as anything else. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, and we are. I have been out and measuring that and given that feedback. I can tell you though, it is extremely important. Aaron knows this, and most seasoned guitar players or guitar collectors know this. The humidity and temperature of the environment you store your guitars in is extremely important. Taylor guitar, any flat top steel string acoustic guitar that's exposed to 60+% humidity for extended periods of time is going to change. So dealers, showrooms, it's important for them to keep their humidity at a controlled level. And it's easy to do if you focus on it with a humidifier or a dehumidifier. And the guitars, I can guarantee you that the guitars go out of our factory playing effortlessly. If I bring those guitars, notice my daughter's little sort of studios behind, she has her keyboard sitting there. I have guitar hooks, you can't see them on the wall. There's no guitars there because my humidity is extremely low and hard to keep up at around 40% humidity. So I don't store guitars down here because if I did, the tops would just dish, which would become super hollow, and the strings would lay on the fret. Now that's what happens with a lack of humidity. When you have too much humidity, the guitar swells up, right? And when that guitar swells up, that bridge comes up, which moves your strings. If this finger is the string, and this finger is the fret, it moves the strings away from the fret, making the action very high. Right. You could say, well, I grabbed the Taylor and that wasn't as high. I'd have to be there to see it, because I do see those tests, and I notice when our action is high in a shop, and I can tell right away whether it was over humidified. A lot of them actually have those gauges on the wall. I always go over and look on the wall or look for that gauge and read the gauge, and if it's set at 68%, I know that's part of the problem, and the Taylors feel higher than what they normally do to me. I mean, look, Taylor guitars are great guitars. We believe a rising tide raises all ships. I know Bob personally, and a lot of folks out at Taylor. I like what they do. We do it a little bit differently, and that's part of what makes us Martin guitar, and the same is what makes them Taylor guitars. But they know that humidity is an issue, and controlling it is important. And both of us try to do what we can to make our guitars impervious to that, but we're making flat top steel string acoustic guitars that are made out of wood. It's hard to do.
Totally, and I want to do a whole episode one day on action, because action for me, I mean, you know how I am anyway, but getting that saddle where it's just high enough that I find it easy to play, but not so low that I lose too much tone. That's a really that's like when you get a haircut. I always tell people, it's like getting your guitar set up is like getting a haircut. And they say, what do you want? And you say, oh, just make me look good. Right? You have to tell them, you have to tell your luthier, I want a high action, I play bluegrass. I want a really low action, I play Tommy Emmanuel style. You have to really know. But one thing I've started doing is buying the blank saddles and just filing down and doing it myself as well. I quite like to do that. But there's so many variables, and a guitar store may not be keeping the humidity correct. So bear that in mind as well. Is that guitar at its optimal state when you are auditioning it? I'd say that too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rodrigo. Great question. And this came up today on the internet, so perhaps we can address this. Rosanna, hi Rosanna K. Hello, can I ask why the Martin Owners Club is unavailable now in the UK and outside of the USA? I've noticed.
Rosanna K, thank you so much for that question. I am on a meeting tomorrow where I'm going to report that I got a question from Rosanna K, wondering why the Martin Owners Club is unavailable now in the UK. I'll reiterate, I will ask that question again. There is a reason, pardon me for not being able to repeat the exact reason, because I don't really handle that, but there is a valid reason that was mentioned, and without being able to be completely accurate, I don't want to do that, but I'll send the response to Aaron. He can post it to this. You can come back and look at it. But we are trying to find a way to be able to get that back going. And we don't just take these things away because we want to take them away. There's something that prompts that. I don't know what the regulations were, but we need to find a workaround. But what it was, I don't want to misstate it, but okay. There's a reason, and we are working to try to get that back on board.
I will post that information in the description of this video, so if you're watching in the future, look down in the description. And along those lines, I did want to give a quick shout out to the store, because I noticed, and no one's really spoken about this yet, there's a few new products in the shop, and I noticed that today, so I want to give that a shout out as well, including this new cleaner here. Have you tried this yet? The new detailer?
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
You know,
this works really good.
This quick pick, I'm really glad you got this quick pick thing, because I met the guy that invented that at the NAMM show a few years ago, and he was looking to have this available with you. So I'm glad you got that. It's a nice kind of tie-in there to the NAMM show. But yeah, some new products in the shop as well. So do go and check that out later on too. These tools are really good. That's what I use to do my action myself. They're a good set of tools. A few people have asked about a J45 style guitar. Something to compete directly with a J45. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, that's probably. We did a D18 SS. It just didn't do real well, and you know we make over 100,000 guitars a year, and when we have guitars that we only sell 20 or 30 in a year, and I'm in charge of discontinuing the guitars. So any guitars that we don't make anymore, and if you want to be mad at somebody,
you're the one that cancels the retro.
Yes, I'm the one. But we have to make business sense too, and you know we can't be very efficient. If it's not a custom shop guitar, we can't be very efficient. And the D18 short scale, I mean, we were lucky if we got a request for one a month of those guitars. So it didn't make sense, because we need to make room for guitars that we're seeing high demand for, and that we can serve a larger part of our audience. So believe it or not, I do know the J45 is something we need to have a piece of competition for. And we have tried over the years. We just haven't nailed it yet.
Sorry, you've got. I met Skip at Summer NAMM. I went up to the Martin booth. I got in there. It was a few years ago, my first time, and I just went right up to him and I said, "What's happening with the retro guitars?" And he's like, "I don't think they're in the catalog anymore. And how did you get in here, by the way?" And I said, I came through the door. I don't think he got my sense of humor back then. I don't think he does anymore either. But you've got a lot of fans here. You've got a lot of fans in here, including myself, of the retro guitars. I've noticed in my guitar buying journey, I've noticed that models do come and go. And this isn't just a sales pitch, but if you're watching, if there's a guitar you are fond of, you should buy it and you should keep it in the closet, because these guitars go away. And I was actually looking for these used the other day. They're now going for double the price. It's almost like when you discontinue something, suddenly everyone says, why can't I get it anymore, right? You should discontinue and bring them back again, maybe. But did they not sell well, the retro series?
They sold well, like a lot of things that we do, and we hit that initial demand. The early adopters jump on, and then you start to see whether or not these are going to continue to turn and continue to be something that is sought after. Aaron made a good point. When you see a guitar that you like, you should buy it if it's something new and it's intriguing, because it may not last. And we did well. We sold a number of them, but then they quickly just fell completely off, which, if you follow the numbers like I do, what that says is there was a certain demand for those out there, and we met that demand. And then it didn't make sense to continue to make those. So going back to, I forget who asked the question about will guitars from 2020, 2021 be worth something in the future?
That was kooky. He also said this. Sorry. The people have spoken, Skip. That's all I can say. The people have spoken. There you go.
Look, I have big shoulders, but I do have a good memory, and this is some of the ammunition that I can use if I'm trying to pitch to bring things back. And please, if you have one, hold on to it, because it's gonna increase in value, as Aaron has talked to us about.
Jack says, I know Jack too. Hi, Jack. Why do you put the sonotone pickup in most of your guitar? I mean, the sonotone is in the more affordable guitars, right? Because you're not going to put like an F1 Aura system in a more affordable guitar. Is that the reason? Oh, also, I noticed the sonotone now has the MXT now has a USB connection, which is interesting. So you can record directly to your phone or for streaming, stuff like that. That's kind of an interesting move. But yeah, Jack says, why do you choose the sonotone for a lot of the guitars?
Aaron pays attention. We're able to purchase it at a good value to still make our low price guitars affordable to the public and sensible to us to produce.
Mm-hmm. And remember, you can always change that pickup out if you want to at a later point. I've done that myself. So.
And the sonotone's a really good pickup. I mean, my daughter performs live. I mean, it's probably not going to meet Aaron's needs.
Nothing does. Don't worry.
But as you play, you become more sophisticated, and your tastes and your preferences change. But if you've got somebody on the board, on the soundboard, that can make the adjustments. I mean, a lot of times when Sophia plays, she plugs in, she's ready to go. Aaron does a lot of different things. He does, he's a great player if you haven't heard him play. And Aaron's not paying me to do this. I like Aaron. I've seen him play. He's a great player, but he wants a lot more versatility. The sonotone's got volume and a tone scoop, right? But it's still a great electronics setup to plug and play for the beginner or the professional that doesn't want to take their John Mayer with when they're traveling, and doing a couple scenes, a couple circuits. You could have a sonotone, plug it in, and you're still going to sound sound good. You just may not have the same versatility as you really are looking for.
I don't expect you to put a VT Aura Enhance in an affordable guitar. And I will say this in its defense, like my channel started to be about acoustic guitar amplification and pickup systems. We do now have the option of running these guitars through something like a Baggs VoicePrint DI, and a Fishman Aura pedal, a Tone Dexter. And Kooky here actually makes his own free app where you can create your own impulse response. And when you put it's amazing. It's so clever. And it sounds awesome. But when you use those products, which are kind of the next wave, you could argue, then the pickup doesn't matter as much anyway. So there are options. And like I said, it may void the warranty, but you can also take that pickup out and put anyone in there of your choice as well. I've done that in the past. So I totally get it. I understand we all want like cutting edge, groundbreaking new systems. I mean, of course, I want that. I live for that stuff. But I personally understand the choice behind that as well. And there are options around it.
There was a guy, his name was Matt Gazzetta. I haven't heard from him in a long time. I'm pretty sure he did retire. He worked for Taylor, and he was their like do-it-all guy. He was like their engineer, could build anything. And he had like an old Datsun, and it wasn't like one of those 240s or something. There might have even been a Toyota. But if you looked at the car, it looked like if you just bought that for $600, it was $500 too much. Okay, I mean the car was like from the outside was like, it looked like about $100 car, right? He had, I would say $8,000 in the motor. It was like some big block, whatever it was. And he could blow the doors off of any Corvette in town. I didn't get a chance to go for a ride. Didn't work out, but he did start it up. Shook your chest, right? That's kind of like putting an LR Baggs or Fishman RVT Enhance or a retro package in an X Series. It doesn't make sense. A Ferrari motor in a Ford Escort, right? It just wouldn't make sense.
I have this awesome OMJM, and it has a Gold Plus in it, which is what John Mayer uses it. Okay, it doesn't give me the body tapping that the VT Aura Enhance gives me, which again, I love that pickup, and let me know if that's going away because I'll buy one. But you can just run that through a impulse response. It sounds awesome. So I don't know. That's a topic for another day. But I get what you're saying, Jack. I'm trying to see both sides of it. Tom Guy says if you play through an Aura pedal as I often do, the sonotone works just fine. And there's so many options now. The impulse response thing, as you know, Skip. I mean, you guys kind of pushed that into the forefront with the F1 system years ago, and now the other companies are kind of making those pedals where you can make your own impulses. Rosanna said, I'll start to wrap up soon. I wasn't expecting to go this long. The chat has been absolutely incredible. We've got like 40 people here asking awesome questions and Skip giving awesome answers. It's been a great session. Rosanna says, thank you. There are lots of people in the UK who love Martin guitars. My husband loves his D42. That's a great guitar as well.
Awesome. Good guitar. Good guitar. I'll bet you he got it through our partners at Westside. Westside's our main distributor in the UK. So thanks a lot for the comment, and tell him to post a clip playing to one of Aaron's spots.
Yeah, please. I'm going to put my address on the screen. We've had some people sending us performances lately on video. Don't send me any covers. Send me some original playing. Skip, would your daughter send me a clip of her playing an original song that I can share on our Monday show? That would be awesome.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we could get something.
That'd be great. It's sayhi@aaronshortmusic.com. Perhaps I'll wrap up with this question. I'm sure a lot of people are thinking it. Someone asked about Chris, and will the CEO 9 be the last of his designs, or will he still be keeping his hand in part-time? And is there any update on that? Because it has been announced that he will be retiring this year. So yeah. What's the latest with that, if you don't mind me asking?
I know Chris quite well. Have a good relationship with him. I know that he has a personal passion for designing guitars. He's going to remain the chairman of the board, as he says, until he starts coming to the meetings in pajamas, and doesn't know it, right? I suspect that Chris will still give me a call, or give Tim Teal or Fred Green a call and say, hey, I was thinking. I would be highly surprised if your passion just doesn't leave you, and he has a knack for it. He's done some the CEO 7. We're up to CEO 9, right? They all haven't been huge smash hits, and some of that is related to price, right? CEO 7 was a phenomenal guitar. We have sold thousands upon thousands of those guitars, and I mean, get one. It's got an Adirondack top. The guitar is killer. It covers a lot of different ranges for you to do. So he's done so many things and had so many contributions. The HD28, that was Chris's idea in 1976. That was his idea to bring back the herringbone and to scallop the braces. So he's good at it. We like the ideas. I'd be highly surprised if he said, yeah, I'm retired. I'm only the chairman of the board. And by the way, I don't have any more ideas. I could see him sitting by the pool, driving in his car, one of his cars, thinking about something that inspires him and saying, yeah, let's try to do this. So stay tuned.
I'm going to ask you to post no more questions. I apologize if I missed any questions, but I've just got 2 more for Skip. And just quickly though, Raymond said, why can I not register my new Martin guitar in the UK? Is there anything up with that, or is that?
Right. So that is a good question. I did say that our guitars come with a warranty to the original owner. Internationally, you go through your dealer / distributor to do that. So they cover the warranty, not Martin Guitar. It would be hard for us to bring guitars back and forth across the pond. That would be difficult. So that's why we sell to distributors and not dealers. And the distributors honor the warranty.
And yet another question about the SC13E. When are you going to make it all solid wood? I think Stardance, I think you're talking about the SC13, like an SC28 version. Everyone's talking about it. I assume we will see something along those lines, right, Skip?
Stay tuned.
And I look forward to seeing what pickup you put in that one, of course. And then I'll give you one final question from Kookie says, is Skip's personal guitar a retro?
Yeah, that's fun. And I did not buy one of those, so I wasn't trying to drive up the value. Okay, I'm glad that the value has gone up, but I wouldn't do that.
They're all in that closet behind him. You see, he's got every one in there. One more thing, Skip. I do appreciate the smell of the Martin guitar. So I hope.
Yeah, I like that. Somebody, I was on a live stream yesterday and I mentioned about the candle. Somebody asked where you could get it. I don't know, but if somebody finds it, and I oftentimes when we're talking about ideas, I say, we still need to get that mahogany and rosewood candle. So if we sold those in an 1833 shop, we'd sell them like butter.
I think you should sell these in the 1833 shop. Give me a call. Anyway, if you want one of these, you can buy them. I'll put the link in the description below. This has been amazing. I wasn't expecting this to go on so long. I apologize, Skip, but the information and the stories here has been incredible. I really appreciate your time. It's always great to chat with you. And at the Real NAMM show, we don't get to talk like this because you're way too busy. So that has been a great thing about what's been going on. But I do look forward to seeing you in person soon. And everyone that's watching, thank you for your time. Thank you for your questions. Please subscribe to my channel and ring the bell to be notified when I go live. Every Monday is live Martin Talk. We've got a great community discussing Martin guitars, a different guitar every week. So please come and join us for that. And yeah, I want everyone to be safe and stay well. And any information about what we've talked about today with the new products can be found at the Martin Guitar website. Is that right, Skip?
That's right.
Awesome. I look forward to seeing you all soon. Thank you, Skip. I really appreciate it. Great show.
See you, everybody.
Thank you. Be well. Bye-bye.